Hello, lovely Hallmark of Greatness enjoyer. Mark here. I just want to take a moment of your time to talk to you about something fun that me and my 100 Things We Learned from Film podcast co-host are doing. Last year we were gutted to hear about the passing of regular 100 Things listener and all-round lovely young man, James Allen, at only 37 years old. Earlier in 2024, James had been diagnosed with incurable bowel cancer, and in that time, Teesside Hospice provided James and his family with excellent palliative care. We wanted to support Teesside Hospice by raising some much-needed funds to continue helping enrich the lives of those with cancer in Teesside. So in a bid to raise some much-needed money for the fantastic charity, on Saturday, May the 3rd, John and I are walking the Ullswater Way and Dalmain Loop in the Lake District. That's 25 miles, or 6.5 lengths of Taransay, to keep it relevant to the podcast that you're listening to. We know times are tough at the moment, but would love if you could sponsor us with anything that you can spare. Or perhaps you know a builder or joiner that got rich taking money off Lime Productions whilst not finishing the work. I mean, send them our links, please. It's 100 Things We Learned from film.co.uk or justgiving.com/page/100 Things Pod. Also in the show notes, isn't it, Joe? So please, give anything that you can. If you don't, we might send Ray round to drink all your booze and knock up a really shit wall. Anyway, on with what you're here for.
The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Pod-Castaway, the show where you choke a chicken for our entertainment. I'm Joe, and with me as always, throwing badgers at your face 24 hours a day, it's James.
Oh, am I Lofty in this scenario?
I suspect Lofty.
I suspect he was behind that, yeah.
I'll
take that.
I reckon he's friends with the badgers, is Lofters. Loftles. Loft Boy
Human
7.
slaves in an insect nation.
And he's just drinking from a puddle and declaring himself king of the island. It's Planty.
Howie, castaway. Can you say that anymore? Can you do
I
that?
don't even know what that is.
It's the old Castaway advert. Do you remember Castaway?
I'm going to say
what
no.
they called a wine cooler back in the 90s. It was the original alcohol pop.
Shit! That's, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember things corner earlier this week.
Too old for you, James,
my
that
time.
one.
Yeah,
it was,
definitely.
It was pre-hooch.
Yeah, it was.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Christ. Wow, whoa. If you want to keep up to date with all the Hallmark of Greatness gossip, you can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. Or if you eat as much as a big horse, you can email us at hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com. We are barreling headlong into Castaway 2000 Episode 3. The feedback I've had has been positive, so we're going to continue with this until one of us dies.
We're exiled.
Yes.
The results have been phenomenal.
Yeah, people seem to like it. I get a lot of people have gone, oh my God, I've forgotten completely about this.
Yeah.
So it seems to be like a collective fugue state of
There's
everyone.
no reason to remember this.
How should I remember
other than
it?
it's the first of its type. There is no reason to remember this at all.
That's the thing that I keep saying. It's like the first of anything is interesting because nobody knows what the fuck is going on.
Yes.
I've got a quote about that later. But
Okay.
And on that, just I was listening to the first episode today in the van while I was
Gotta
while I was
bump
out
those
and
numbers, yep.
about, because I just wanted a bit of a catch up. And James, you said something about them wanting to do it right and wanting to do it as a do it properly and a real experiment and not just pick people. They throw that out the window in episode 4 when we get to that. By the way, they throw that out the window and they just go, let's just pick twats.
Yep.
Let's pick people who are just going to pagger one another to death.
That's what we want. That's what anyone wants, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but
two people, one with a net and a trident,
that.
one with a club. That's what we want.
Yes, please. We're now up to, so nobody's entered the island yet.
No,
we're up to the second selection group, aren't we?
Yes,
So we've had the
end
first
of last
lot.
week, we had was it 18 people or 20 people that were going from that first slightly bigger group, it feels. And we're now on the second group of people who get a completely different set of tasks to accomplish, which doesn't feel right.
No, it's not fair. They're not.
And
there's
also,
a lot
the
less
same
of them.
standards at all.
But there's a lot less of them going. So it feels like they picked the big group and they went, oh yeah, well we'll get all the people we want from the big group and then we'll just cherry pick a few off the next
We'll
one.
pick assholes from the second one.
I would argue that there was good people in this one that they didn't.
Yeah, man.
We're getting ahead of ourselves for episode 4.
Yeah.
I
But
completely
that they
agree
don't
with that.
pick. They absolutely throw the baby out with the bathwater early doors and undo all the good stuff they did in episode. Good stuff, inverted commas, in episode 1 and 2.
Well, I think there was a little pang of consciousness there that they've gone with a cross-section of British society. Oh, wait, we've chosen entirely white people.
Yeah. Oh, quick, get a black person, black family.
Yeah.
One gay man. That is their commitment to diversity.
Back in then, that probably was a good cross-section of a small town in Suffolk. You know, no one's ever been to a city, have they? But yeah, so we're into the second selection process for the slightly smaller group of people who are going to fill out the 32, is it 28, 34? The amount of people that are going to be on the island.
Nuts. I mean, there's the Murphys from Leyland, for whom time slows down every time the camera pans to them.
I like lady.
I like them because they are one of those couples that are like, you know, it's like Fred and Leslie that my dad used to drink. Yeah, everyone's got it's pickles in it. It's them. Yeah, everyone knows are these people. Yeah. They're harmless. They're lovely people, but you don't want to get trapped in a pub with them.
Yeah. Do you get? How do you make it round the roadworks at McVitie's? Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
But the fact that she is a dinner lady, I was like, well, what skills is she bringing? Oh, she could serve dinners, I guess. Yeah.
She could tell kids to stop running around.
Because I have a lot of, what are these people bringing to the island in terms of skills?
Well, they don't, they deliberately choose the bits from the VTs that make them look like fucking idiots.
Oh, yeah.
Like the kid that doesn't know his name, for one. Julie the stockbroker, who in no way looks like she's 36.
I
like her.
Pleasure, having been made redundant. Yes.
You like her, and so does Lofty, but we'll come to that.
Lofty's got a bit of a soft spot.
I heavily suspect that she was picked with Ben Fogle in mind, because they're just sort of like shoehorning women at him. It's peculiar, but
they've got a woman cannon, and it's aimed at Fogle.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory about this, and they had to pivot to Fogle.
Oh, I'm interested to see.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. We'll get to it when we get to episode 4. But I have a theory that Fogle was not the main focus of this.
Ooh. He wasn't the main Fogles.
Fogles.
Yes.
Yeah. Fogles. Yes.
We get Robert, who's a bankrupted salesman from the 1970s who needs to go on the lam for the year.
He is great. He is dressed like Gordon Gekko.
I thought he was if the Beast out of the Chase met Robert Maxwell.
Yeah, that's but he's bankrupt, so he can't do anything for a year. And he's thought, I'll just go and hide out on an island and commit some light tax fraud.
Robert is bankrupt, literally and metaphorically.
What's the other thing about him, though? He's got
he sounds like Alan Partridge.
Oh, he's a huge unit or something.
Well, no, I'm getting ahead of us. He comes from a little village called Christmas Pie.
Yeah,
what?
Is that a real place? I meant to look that up.
It is. I looked it up. It's near Guildford. Normandy historians. Because there's a town next to it called Normandy, which also doesn't sound right. NormandyHistorians.co.uk says the curious name of Christmas Pie owes its name to property owned by the prominent local family called Christmas. Mr. Jim Christmas. The pie part of the name comes from the Saxon term pitol, which doesn't sound like pie at all.
No.
Which means a small piece of arable land.
I'm going to argue.
There we have it.
None of this is real, and you're just talking to the machine. This is all stuff out of the machine.
We've not seen the machine in some time. It's off somewhere.
It's off. We don't need the machine at the moment, so it's
done Castaway. So yeah,
we've sent it for maintenance.
You two have done better at names. I'm going to hope, because I did terribly. We've got some woman who studied indigenous tribes, but she looks like she's out of steps.
Those two girls have not studied anything. I'm going to say they read a Wikipedia article.
What happens to them?
They don't feature at all. Because I don't. I think they're probably too common for Fogels.
Yeah.
Love cannon.
Well, yeah, I don't think everyone that's videoed here makes it through to the selection group.
No,
Because there's
because
another couple where one woman just goes, Gareth's good at killing things, and then we never see them again.
Yeah,
Because he's off, because he ends up killing things.
off killing-
and they
he
can't
kills
go
her,
in it.
loves.
ironically. Yeah.
And we've got
there's that
Irish-
couple from the first, the two men from the first one. The first package of
Yeah.
VTs we saw.
Oh, yeah.
They throw them in again, but they're
Yeah.
never seen.
As
like...
if we're not meant to know, yeah. We've got Irish Hugh Fernley Whittenstall, so he is.
Oh, I
Oh,
just
yeah,
put him as
Podrick.
Angry Kid. Padrick.
Yeah.
Podrick.
Yeah, he's
and-
decent. I like him.
And somebody who says I'm a trampolinist. That's not a job. What job is that?
That's going
use is that
straight in the
gonna
plot generator. The trampolinist. Yeah.
You get that down the job centre. And what are your skills? Jumping.
Yeah, that's Trev. Trev is trampolinist. We also get Paul, who's 31 and an entrepreneur student. I think he's one of the two lads you were talking about. Patricia, who looks a little bit like Lady Di. And we get the Carey family, and also somebody called Toby, whose distinguishing feature is that he comes from Leeds.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I've got plenty of Toby coming up over the next two episodes.
The woman,
One
the
of them-
Princess Diana lady, who goes, if I don't get on this, I'm going to kill myself. I thought, a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front of your kids as well.
But the thing was, the
Joke.
psychologist woman went, oh, that's probably good. And I was like, did you collect 6 crisp packets and become a psychologist? Also, where's Lady Island this week?
Oh yeah, she's not here.
She fucked off to write another book.
About an eco house in Wales, North Wales.
I stayed in a caravan. I'm going to write a book. I'll be an expert on caravans now.
There's a declining amount of them. It's just Cynthia, I think, from now on.
You
You only
just
ever
Cynthia
see
and
her
Lofty and
casting aspersions on other people. Lofty's here for this bit because we've got the Lake District second heat.
Cynthia goes right up in my estimation this time because I didn't think she was anything in the last one, but she's got a lot to say and a lot of
She's
it's
got a lot to
fucking
say.
bollocks. She really should come on this podcast.
Well, if she's still alive, you're more than welcome to, love. Love.
She is still alive. I can confirm.
Oh, okay. We can't get Lofty, then we're not getting her. It's the poor man's Lofty.
I don't think you do get
Lowly.
Lofty on a podcast. I think he's more than likely to just turn up at your local pub and commandeer it, possibly. But we get difficult tasks now. The first one being select a tent.
Yep.
Which I didn't understand.
Day one, select
and
a tent.
Everyone struggles over selecting a tent.
Well, I don't know if they all looked the same. So I don't know if there was different sizes. And it was like, okay, so you put the families in the bigger one. They all just look like standard, like 4-man tents.
Yeah, there's nothing to choose between, but they were dithering over that. And then we get the second task. Does anyone want to take us through this madness?
Fire and its many, many possibilities.
Sure.
Yeah. Shall we build
next?
one?
I thought it was.
Oh,
no,
go on. No, go on. Sorry. What was the next? Oh,
I
no.
It was
the egg catapult.
It's the build a machine that can fire an egg.
You can fire an egg.
I apologize.
How has this podcast become so egg oriented?
Eccentric.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to work in teams of red, yellow, and green team, or whatever it is, again, because we've already bought the lanyards. And they have to build a machine that can fire an egg over X amount of distance. And if you catch the egg and it doesn't break, you get to keep the egg and raise it as your own.
Julie says, we knew triangles had to be involved. All right, Pythagoras.
Pythagoras. It's always with the triangles.
Yeah, they get to, in theory, eat any of the eggs they catch. And we cut to bystanders just being thrashed by eggs. There's no possible way they could catch it.
What's he got, the Scouse lad? This is the Scouse cannon, which is
Scouse
based
rocket.
on Scouse rocket, which is based on a Roman trebuchet.
Apparently so. And he does a Roman salute as he does one.
Well, he doesn't. That's not. We've got a long way to go.
Trebuchet
before.
was Roman technology, but yeah. Robert Lindsay also informs us that it's windy and eco pods are being built out on the island. And we see a sketch of one of them with a man underneath it saying, style, like that.
It looks like a hobbit hole. Looks
It
like
does.
Bilbo
It's
Baggins.
a bad sign when they can't cut to anything being constructed.
Yeah.
No, they've got no. They've kind of done the main house up a bit on the far away shot of it.
Yeah,
like that looks
one
like
house.
it's nearly done. And to be fair, based on what I was reading about it, like those kind of thingies are better. Like if you look at old Viking houses and stuff, they were kind of built into the earth because it's warm and it contains heat and all this stuff. But the fact is that they've got none of this. The weather's still bad, so they've got a load of builders and stuff on the mainland getting pissed. pretty much constantly.
Yeah.
Because they can't fly nothing out.
Increasingly
And
so.
we're 6 weeks out at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We get a
nowhere to live.
luxury item pop quiz as well. We get
Oh,
guitar,
yes.
harmonica, fishing rod, Walkman because it's still the 90s,
Yeah.
and Irishman, an entire rig for distilling whiskey.
Yeah.
How long do you think they're there for, Poe Ray? Like 15 fucking years?
I don't know how long it takes to distill thingy, but
I think it
One
probably
of the
takes
better,
about
innit?
2 weeks to make really nasty poutine. or
I'm
something,
basing
isn't
it on MASH, where they had the still in their
Classic
in their
Hawkeye.
Yeah, classic Hawkeye. But yeah, it's is this where the kid who doesn't remember his name goes, I'd take Dad, and then they just cut away. I'm like,
Yeah.
is he gone? Is
Oh,
he,
yeah.
Did he want to not be on the show,
I-
or is he dead? Did he leave?
I couldn't understand what this was about. Like,
It's just a weird thing. She just goes, Dad. I'm like, is he behind the camera?
And then we get task 2, make a fire.
This is
So-
the make a fire bit, and it leads to the ultimate discussion of fire. Never has fire been so discussed outside of, I don't know, caveman times. Like,
Yeah.
it gets them to start bashing each other's heads in with shin bones. Do we make one big fire in the middle that everyone can gather round, or do we make separate fires near a wall, or does
Yeah.
everyone make their own fire?
and I know what. Let's put it to a vote. In fact, no, let's put it to 12 votes.
Let's vote on it 3 times within the same 5 minutes, because no one understands what they're voting for. This
Robert
is-
takes the lead at this point by the
Robert?
power invested in by his camo jacket and nothing else.
No, well, because he can make decisions like this because he used to own a Saab 9000. He tells us.
Oh,
doesn't he?
don't get me started.
Oh.
Yeah, we get a good VT of him at this point. So
I
go
wanna
on,
know
what's
what
the story
happened.
behind Robert?
I had the house, I had the wife, and I lost it all. I went bankrupt. I even lost my Saab. I used to drive a Saab 9000. I lost
It's
that.
worse than that. It's worse than that because he lists the Saab 9000 first, then his
Does
nice
he?
house, then his nice garden, then his lovely wife, and then
So
wonders why he lost
I'm thinking
her.
the wife left him and took all the money.
And
Yeah.
here you are standing here. Whose lovely Saab 9000 is this?
Do we know how he went bankrupt? Is that information you can find out? Like,
Probably
on
not
the
now.
internet? No,
I bet it's
I
still
wanna
on
know.
company's house, is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I might have a
Company's
think
house
about it, see if we
later.
can find out, because I want to know. I'm reckoning embezzlement. He strikes me as the kind of person that was just.
I think he's just shit at business. I think that's what it is.
He's not. He had a Saab.
I think he made too large a fire and it all went up.
I think he
Spent
burnt
too
his
long
car-
voting.
accidentally burnt his carpet warehouse on the ring road down.
He ended up in a homeless hostel, bankrupt, divorced. He says he was just destroyed. Then he got his new job, doubled his pay overnight. What, from nothing? I don't understand. But
Well,
it's not what he
anything's
wants.
1p is doubled out, isn't it? Technically.
I mean, he's a salesman, isn't he? He's a salesman through and through. So yeah, they all dither about that, and then we get the fishing challenge. So all right, we've got make a fire, sensible survival skill, maybe firing an egg from a contraption.
Isn't
Not
unless
so
you're trying to
much.
like fend off them porgs from Star Wars or something. I don't know.
And then we
But they
get the
decide to
fishing
make one
challenge.
big fire, and then they all vote on that, and then they
Yeah.
go, actually, that's a shit idea. We should just make separate ones for the teams because we can cook more stuff on it faster. And I'm like, but you all voted to make one big one, and now you're all going doing your own thing.
Big
and the
fire
psycho-
needs big fire.
And the psychologist woman's going, people, if you vote on stuff, people will just, if they don't get their way, they'll just go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, that's literally what's just happened. Thanks.
Psychology.
The fishing challenge. I don't understand how this works because this just
I
looks like
don't.
chucking rocks into a reservoir.
Well, so Lofty turns up. He explains how to tie shoelaces to a rock, but not how the hook and worm are involved. And we can. I've got the quote here. We could even get the seabirds as well because, damn it, if anything, he's a trier.
He suggests murdering all the animals. He says fish, eels, seabirds, folk who live near the coast, you name it. I'll take them all out. Because he mentions eels, and I'm like,
Eels.
there's eels in here.
Crawling
No.
around up inside
No.
Uranus.
Definitely not.
I reckon Lofty just spins that rock round like a David and Goliath style situation where he's David and Goliath is the nearest Uber Eats driver going past.
They're all let loose on this nature reserve.
They're just whipping rocks into a pond.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because they've
They
caught
make the
nothing.
world's smallest net.
Yeah, that's a good laugh at it.
Lofty, you should have unrolled the whole thing. You could have made a bigger net. I don't know. A drunk fish might swim into it. And I'm like, yes, classic Loftyism.
I've also caught his catchphrase here. Get it in the water. He says that like 3 times.
That's the episode title.
I wonder if it's in his blog post about water. Just a thought.
It's where eels, seabirds, Uber Eats. Yeah. This is just, they don't catch anything. And the one woman, the one black lady from the black family who were there is like, I'm starving. I'm like, well, you better start eating grass, love, because you ain't catching shit, are you?
Yeah.
I don't understand how it's supposed to work.
I don't think anybody catches anything. I think what he means is that the line, so you sink the line with the stone on it and then attach hooks while it's taut or something. But I think what everybody does is attach hooks first and then just unravels themselves.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's what tangles it up. I think the fish will swim into the net and then realise it can't kind of go that way, go to turn around and go, ooh, a tasty meal.
Right, okay.
Well,
I thought
the
the net
word-
was a separate from
The net was a distraction.
Yeah.
Look at that shit
Which
net.
one's she?
I know, because you set up like drift nets. You put them at the side of rivers in like a lay, and then the fish can't get back out of them. From my knowledge of other survival programs, but yeah, you couldn't catch a cold with this. Lofty says I wouldn't even make a tennis racket out of that.
Yeah,
which you wouldn't.
We get a VT of Paul who says that he's the one that says I stood back for a while, had a cigarette, and decided everyone else is really stupid. He
Boss
has his own
Sherlock
VT.
Holmes, I've called him. He's got deerstalker
because of his
on.
hat. Yeah. It turns out he's been homeless as well, and I was like, "Where's the casting department? Have they just scoured the shelters or something?"
Yeah, no,
They're
just
under bridges and canals,
down alleyways. Yeah.
He says, I've had problems, losing jobs, homelessness, being a massive cunt. He's anti-consumerist, though, so 2 out of 10 for him.
I was homeless for 4 years and a shoplifter for 8. So he got a house and just thought, I fucking love this.
Yeah, hey, that sounds like a cracking job, shoplifter. How do I get one of them?
You fail at trampolining, and that's how you can move on to shoplifting.
Well, Planty, you've got to get it in the water.
No, I think
bottles of water.
When he got his house, I'm assuming he was like, well, I've got to furnish it. Right, I'm off down IKEA, just lifting couches and Billy bookcases out the door. What are you going to do? They can't stop you.
We get another cut back to the island. 12 weeks to go, it says. Accommodation
12.
still isn't ready due to the bad weather. The builders get marooned for a while. I didn't know that was something that somebody could do in the British Isles, but apparently.
Is this the bit where one of the builders just decides to drink a bottle of whiskey?
No, that's
right. Okay. But
that's as we get closer to the millennium.
I am
a problem that they should have seen in advance.
Absolutely astounded that they didn't. How have we got to this point?
Yeah,
and I have written
Real
that
bad.
so many times in the
For 3
notes.
months.
We've got to this point, and then when it comes to 6 weeks before they're on there, how have they got to this point? And then it's Christmas. How have they got to this point? I keep writing it because I just cannot believe.
I think an interesting thing to bear in mind is that none of the castaways know this at this point.
No,
From their point of view, I think they've all signed contracts saying, you'll go to this island, there will be accommodation there,
yes.
You'll have to survive for a year.
Yeah.
So they don't know any of this shit's going on.
And I don't think
Well,
they
we can see
wanted
it
them
happen.
to, but they went, we're going to have to put this in the
absolutely
show, otherwise we're going to look like right chump. We'll blame it on the weather and drunk joiners.
Yeah.
Is there any other kind?
The architect says we have enough roofing to cover 35 people to bed down with sleeping bags if necessary, and that will be a good incentive for them to get on building. And I thought, oh,
You're moving
not
the
their understanding.
goalposts massively here, aren't you? You're like, you're
Got this roof.
No wood, so you have to just carry it. What 4 lads have to stand up every night over you?
Yeah, walls, they're extra. So,
Can't
task
build it.
4.
The best task.
Raft assault course that has, for a long time, I thought nothing to do with rafts whatsoever.
I
forgot
just
about the rafting
assumed
part.
that it was a real life Donkey Kong. They were just hoying barrels down the fucking thing. What is going
Bucket
on?
heave, I've put in my notes.
So yeah, you have to work out what the best things to make a raft are out of the available supplies: barrels,
Which
wood,
was all of
rope.
it?
I think
One
well,
thing
I
like
think
a
there was
non
planks.
sequitur or something.
I think there was planks and there was staves, and that was
Sponges
the
or
only,
something.
only 2 things that were different.
Pallets.
So you had to carry them over the assault course to the lake, and then I'm assuming you build a raft. At this point, that's not clear. But you must also carry the bucket of rope and never let it touch the ground. If the bucket doth touch the ground, back to the start you go. Right? And I'm like, it's like one of them horrible team building exercise things. Isn't it? Like, we've got to get across the field, but you can only use 2 planks of wood, sort of shit they make you do when you're at work. And is it the red team? Do very well
so we
at
get
this.
led by Julie, who we get in a VT, used to be an estate agent, a teacher, relocation company worker, worked at a cinema, and then a stockbroker's.
That's a CV, that, isn't it?
Shorthand for a massive twat, basically.
She ends up in a bog with her head through some netting somehow. I don't know. They've improved on the netting, apparently, since the fishing task. Julie, you've got to receive this, so get on your back. It's one quote that will stay with me till our dying days.
But they work out a system for carrying it on an oar. And Lofty's like, yeah, keep carrying it on the stick. And she goes, it's an oar, Lofty. And I'm like, don't chat shit to Lofty. He can kill you in 9 different ways.
An oar is just a stick.
It's a stick with a flat end on it. But yeah, anyway, yeah. But they do it pretty well. They work together as a team. They help each other out. You've got to go like over them high and low bits, like at the start of Gladiators. Yeah. There's like a balance beam. There's a wobbly rope bridge, which comes in handy in the next one. And then a classic "Don't Tell the Bride" underwater submersion bridge.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand how you're supposed to get that through that without it touching the floor.
I don't know if they need
water floor
do that. I think they just like bucket heave over it, and they have to go under it. So, I don't know. I don't quite know. Lofty really likes Julie, though.
He does. She's got a lot of. What was it? She's got a fun personality. I think he said, which I don't believe.
He says she's the elegant one, and Julie, she's the elegant character, and I like her accent. He really into her. He's more into her than I am. Yes. She made me think of Liz Truss.
I'll be all bit of rough, Miss Truss.
Oh, right, can we move on from that?
Right, lofty erotic fan fiction.
We get the second team now, and we get Patricia, who's part of this. That's the Diana body double gig, which wound up 2 years ago, I'm assuming.
Keep it light.
Keep it light. And Robert.
But Robert, being the big man that he is, decides he's going to carry the bucket on his own like a fucking maniac. Like
the VT from Robert Lindsay is Man Mountain, Robert Hicks. And I thought, he's not that big.
He's not.
You would not get away with that. So there's so much body shaming from Lofty.
Well, Lofty calls him.
I don't know what they're feeding him. It's like keeping a horse.
I think Cynthia says he's a big lad as well. Like, there's a lot.
Also, you can hear the camera crew audibly chuckling as they say these things as well.
But then later on, Lofty goes, he's a liability because he tried to take too much on. I'm like, make up your fucking mind, mate.
Yeah, but two apparatus in, he's gassed as fuck, mate. Like,
you won't have me say anything bad about Lofty, will you?
You
won't have me call Lofty out at all, will you? Maybe you and him need to get a room. Possibly build it yourself as well, huh?
Lofty doesn't need a room. Lofty will just bed down on some moss. Make a duvet of all the ducks he's killed with his planted rock on a string technique.
The ducks don't need to be dead. We get Gwen. She goes through with her husband, Pat. They seem perfectly nice. They
seem fairly normal.
Yeah. She doesn't like heights as well, and that impresses Lofty. Everyone pushes Robert's arse at one point.
They're trying to hoik him over this thing, and he's knackered.
He's done. Yeah, he's
got nout left in the tank, and they go, we all have to finish.
Forcing through this culvert, and I put this very culvert-heavy show and podcast that we're experiencing.
I'm fine with it. We can change the name to the Jim Culver Experience.
It was at this point I thought to myself, I can't imagine last week's lot doing this.
No, they would never have done it.
But I would like to imagine Ron having to do it.
Absolutely.
And then I thought to myself, I've probably been a little bit harsh on Ron, and I want the listeners to know it's not because he's gay, it's because he's a cunt.
As we find out, he is a thing. Oh no, Kim going through that underwater bit.
The old boy, dragging the old boy through. You're meant to go through the water, you old prick, or whatever the guy said.
No, Kim, he'd fashion a small narrowboat and to sail it over the water.
Yes.
With a pit pony pulling it.
Ray would be drinking the water because he thinks it's got magical properties and keeps flies away.
Keeps the black death midges or whatever away. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
But yeah, they get through this and they've done it in 27 minutes, which is pretty good time, I think.
I don't care.
No, I mean the timings. As we find out, the timings don't matter. It's all about them working together to accompany.
But how you do it, and also if you catch Lofty's eye,
Yeah.
And if you've got a bit of a posh voice.
He likes that, doesn't he?
He does.
You get the last team. Yeah, well, last
Lofty's
team
lover.
has Gordon Carey in it and his family. Cynthia's very pro Gordon, especially at the start. He says that he has a famine background. I was like, well,
no, farming
does the opposite.
background.
Is he Irish?
Yeah, he's from St Kitts and Nevis, which I know a little bit about because a friend of mine went and lived there. 2 islands in the Caribbean, quite a poor country, but very nice people, very proud people. And he's come over here and he wants to move back there.
On his shoes.
He fucking hates Dudley, doesn't he?
I understand. You ever been to Dudley? I understand why he hates it.
Yes, I have.
You've come from the tropical paradise of St Kitts to Dudley.
But you've got a zoo, mate, so stop moaning.
Well, but they're also Seventh-day Adventists.
Go on,
the Mormons.
Which means they can't work on Saturdays because that's their day of rest.
Yes.
Unlike
6-day Adventists, then.
Unlike Seventh-day Hoppists.
There we go.
Jesus.
What? It's the second Red Dwarf reference of the.
Well done.
The greatest of these is Hop. Yeah, so they're not going to be able to work on Saturdays because it's their religion, and I'm thinking that's going to rub people up the wrong way.
You know what else is part of their religion? You're not allowed to get your shoes dirty.
Yes, they devised
You have to put bags on your
bag
feet.
There's
no way he's fucking his Yeezys, is he? In a million years.
Right, but he's put these bin like you're going through ankle deep mud, shin deep mud. It's going to seep in. Lofty
There's
goes.
always seeping.
There's always seeping. Lofty, you all right with your shoes there? Like, Lofty gets it. His missus, on the other hand, has come dressed as a Halloween Dracula.
I've written Halloween Witch, so the pair of us.
Which is a reference from last week, if you are the week before, if you aren't aware. You can make any Halloween costume out of a bin bag. Right, but
Robert Lindsay in the voiceover. Will Gordon's working on a Sunday be a problem as all the local churches will be Presbyterian? They won't be near any Presbyterian
There's no church
churches.
on the island.
No, there's nothing on the island. That's the
there's not even a
point of
blood
it.
sacrifice.
It's a cult of the lamb.
Yeah, like they're all going to be. You're going to have to work as much as you can because
it's probably an advantage because if somebody's working on a if somebody's not working on a Saturday but works on a Sunday,
someone else can have a day off.
Yeah, diversity in action. Yeah,
I like at this point, I'm kind of a bit annoyed at Gordon because he's a bit prissy about it, and I'm like, he says he's from a farming background but hates getting dirty. How's that compute? Does he just grow hydroponics? What, like? I don't.
He's a very serious person, very much like the engine out of Thomas the Tank Engine, isn't he, Gordon?
He doesn't suffer fools gladly, and he's surrounded by fools.
I mean, to be fair, I'll give him that.
What I will say about him and it's Cassie, isn't it? They do seem really nice.
Yeah.
And it was only, I think, maybe the next episode I realised they've got a family as well.
They never really
realised
the family.
They're not here.
See a little baby.
I think there's something Gordon says in the next episode where I'm like, all right, I get you. I get you, Gordon. I'm 100% on board.
Yeah.
You are a bit of a, like, not got any good, but I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. Because fuck me, I wouldn't want to stay in that house with these bricks either.
No.
We also get Trevor going through
fucking
it all.
Ted Bundy on all our asses.
with Toby, Lofty, Trevor, Scouser. They're all comedians.
With their native
With
wit.
everyone's wit.
The Scouse guy's not funny.
No, he thinks he's though, doesn't he? He does. He's actually really annoying.
Yeah, he's got a weird Penfold face as well, I've written.
Yeah.
I thought he was the lad out of Brushstrokes. That's not Carl Howman.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll give you that as well. But yeah, he's kind of just like, he's way from the pub, isn't he?
Yeah.
He thinks everyone likes him and everyone fucking hates him.
All the cherries.
Yes. But the other two lads, is it the homeless lad and they're great.
Toby from Leeds.
Yeah. Toby from Leeds, I'm a big fan of.
They get stuck in.
I'm standing for Toby.
Yeah, they get stuck in. They have to go under the water thing, and Gordon's shitting his pants about some water, right? And he's like Homer Simpson, ooh, titmouse, right? And then they fucking left a barrel behind.
Yeah.
And Lofty's like, well, you can't finish without your barrel.
Someone's going to have to go and get it. And he just whomped straight in, didn't he? Toby just jumped straight in, back.
But you got to go back the way you came. You can't just run over and get it. And then the other lad's like, I'll go and help him as well, while everyone else stands about puffing and panting.
He's a little Yorkshire Ripper, isn't he? I love him.
That Leeds fire in him. And then is he absolutely gassed when he comes back and Lofty's mate teaching him how to breathe?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I caught that.
Hold
but I
it in
didn't
for
make any
5.
notes, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, and then he sits him down. How many arms am I holding up? And he goes 12. Oh, that's funny. It's a good joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring in the
Keep
love,
that in.
push out the jive. Yeah.
But yeah, and so right, but that is in no way comparable to what they did last week with the sheep bothering and the orienteering and
Yeah.
Yeah, and again,
This is a
it
lot
has
more physical.
nothing to do with a fucking raft. No
well,
raft.
no, and then they go, build a raft. Fuck about.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, not before Lofty hoses them down personally.
With a
Oh
pressure
yeah,
washer.
And Robert Lindsay's like, yeah. So he's actually got this really technological piece of equipment, which perhaps in 1999 it was. I don't know.
Yeah, but they hurt when they hit you.
Yeah.
Especially at that
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quiz, what will they miss? CDs, pub, cigarettes, mates, Tampax. Why does this keep coming up?
It's a
an
thing women
essential
worry
item.
about, I'm guessing.
Bath. You don't want to end up smelling like an old horse, says Julie.
Robert already looks like one and he's like one.
Because they're feeding him like one.
Finally, we get to raft time.
Raft
Robert knows all
time.
about rafts, and he rattles off instructions which outwardly make no sense.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's ironic that they're making Robert Maxwell do rafts when he died on a yacht.
That's why the Robert Maxwell thing. It was all
He
leading
does
up
look
to
like
this.
Robert Maxwell. He looks
He
like
does
Robert
look
Maxwell,
like
but he
Robert.
sounds like Alan Partridge when he
He
talks.
does.
And it took me so long to put the two together. Yeah, apparently if you put a crossbeam in and then you do
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
it'll stop it from pivoting. And I'm like, is it? Is it?
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it with Partridge in mind. Yeah.
He's not he's a proper Maxwell. He's not a Partridge. Partridge wouldn't have the self-awareness of this. But yeah, they make these rafts and then they sail off a bit and like they mostly work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a shambles, but yeah. There's
Yeah.
one kid is sort of like paddling at the same time. It's like
You
it's
don't
that
want
sort of
a
thing.
raft to capsize in Ullswater because it's really deep in the middle. It's like it's hundreds and hundreds of feet
I
deep.
think they just made him go round a bit, didn't they? Like do a U, I think.
Oh, I hope they don't get caught in little tiny nets that they've put on with hooks and things. That would be-
Lofty's whipping rocks at him from the bank. Wait there while I get you.
Hang on, there's an Uber Eats lad here somewhere.
But yeah, and then like even Robert Lindsay on the voiceover goes, the red team won. Like nobody
Oh
cares.
yeah, it's an absolute like it just goes. Oh, and as if you give a shit, the red team won, doesn't he? And you go, oh yeah, fuck, you obviously forgot to film that bit.
Yeah. But then they double down and they kind of go, well, it's okay because we weren't about the winners. It was about their roles within the group. And I'm like, well saved there.
Yeah.
And
So we get to selection time, don't we? So it's 2 weeks later. Cynthia's doing the calls. Julie's going, but should she? I don't know.
Julie, it's a Scottish number.
Oh, look at you! Look at you!
with your caller ID. She probably gets
costs
a
an
lot
extra
of
£1.50. That.
Well, Lofty kept down the phone. Love
The
you.
Murphys are going.
By the way, she's got a phone. Her phone is on a step ladder.
Yeah, I
Notice that in the middle of the room.
To be fair, when they cut to the
It's Robert's house.
Robert's house, is he
No, I'm joking.
permanently decorating?
I think so. Yeah.
Takes the call with his red boinky belts.
It was at this point I actually made a note of Gwen's name. Because I'm, as you know, I'm rubbish with names, listeners, but Gwen's name and her husband. Do you know what her husband's called?
Wary.
It's Gwen and Patrick. Now, do you know what Patrick's job is?
No.
She's a school.
She's a dinner lady because she never stops banging
yeah.
on about it. But Patrick is a postman. Postman
Right.
Pat.
Patrick, nice.
Come on, mate. Postman Pat. I mean, he's giving all that up for this. Surely. That little red van and his cat, mate. Come on, what are you doing that for?
He fucking
Driving
hates
around
Mrs.
Leyland.
Goggins. Yeah. The Scouse lad and his mate are going
Yeah.
because they're in the same flat as well. That
Toby.
also looks like a
Trev Toby
back
going.
house.
Toby is going and he makes a weird post-coital groan as he does so, which made me feel uncomfortable.
He does.
But
Poreg
Robert
is also going. The Irish
Robert
lad.
is. Oh, Patrick's going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert is not going.
No.
His smile freezes in a chilling way as he finds out the news.
And I kind of wanted him to just go, well, fuck you, kick the phone off the step ladder.
And is this where he says, or am I mixing it up with the first lot? He says, "Yeah, I kind of didn't think I was going to go anyway. I kind of didn't think you were going to."
No, that was
because there was somebody in the first
Kim,
lot.
from the first-
Kim said that.
He kind of like Richter grin and is like, well, wish all the rest of them the best of luck from
That's
me.
it. That's the one.
And you know inside he's like,
Yeah.
fuck, I've got to stay here and avoid bailiffs for a year.
I'm going to keep the curtains shut for a whole year.
I'll just set up camp behind the couch.
Karen and her kids are going. I mean, sorry, Patricia, but she does look like a Karen with that haircut, doesn't she?
Suicidal Karen, yeah.
Yeah.
And Gordon and Cassie as well, I believe, and their family.
Is that the Carey family? Yeah. But they don't get shown because I don't know.
Yeah, they don't. Again, like last time, we don't know half of who didn't go because we just got that slow walking into the distance bit, didn't they? Whereas Jack got featured twice in it because someone. Yeah. So that's pretty much that episode.
Toby's celebration, I was well into, by the way. He pours some champagne into Brian Potter's vase out of Phoenix Nights.
Yeah. Well, there's no point getting a small glass, is there? You're going to have two. But yeah, that's kind of all of that episode. So why we got 2 episodes for the first group and only a very small episode for the second one, I don't know.
How do we feel about group 2? How do we versus group 1? Who are you loving? Who are you here for? That's a
very good question.
I like Gordon and his family because, especially in the next episode, we find out a bit more about him, and I kind of understand his journey in that. I like Gwen and Patrick because they're harmless, and I think they're going to get fucking ripped apart.
Is he called Ray? I think he's going to absolutely uppercut Pat's head off his shoulders or something.
Yeah,
going to happen.
I'm here for Ray. I'm here for Ray all day.
And the rest of them are kind of non-entities.
Non-entities, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a mix of people in here. So the family from St. Kitts, they've got a farming background. I think they've kept livestock and stuff. The Jawas family in the first group as well are similar. So they're the people that are going to get selected because they're actually, they can do it. You know, Everybody else is just in the mix. Personalities, characters, people who really want to be characters, that sort of thing.
Yeah. People that somebody once told them, you're really funny. You should do stand up, or you should be on telly. Why aren't you on telly? You should be on telly.
It's that thing, isn't it? When everyone goes, "Oh, come and meet my mate. He's the right character." It just means he's going to put his dick in your pint when you go to the toilet.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. But that's and then at the end of it, we get in the next episode, the 2 teams meet up. And all fucking hell breaks loose.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Already,
and now we're not even on the island.
They're not even on the island at this point. But that's where we're going to finish this one because it's the end of the episode, basically.
Would you like a lofty rule to finish us off with?
Oh,
go on.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and do these for every single episode from now. Lofty rule: when abroad, beware of ice served in some establishments.
It's a good rule.
It's great. As well,
never have ice in your drink because you can drink bottled water if they put ice in there. Yeah,
they're all water related. I'm not going to beat around the bush.
I need to do a lofty facts jingle now. Yeah. But yes, we're not even on the island yet, and already tensions are quite high among certain people. And also, there's no island to go to at the moment. That's basically what this episode is. They haven't done any of the work, and we're at this point 10 weeks out.
Yeah.
Because they're moving in New Year's Day.
So catch us in the next episode when they find that out. Who's excited?
You're gonna have to wait a whole week for that, and I feel for you.
Yeah. To round it off, your favourite quotes from the episode.
We could even get the seabirds as well.
What was it? You're gonna have to lie on your back and just take it, Julie.
And if you don't go, would you change anything? I'd slit my wrists.
Oh, jeez. I'm bankrupt.
A drunk or stupid fish won't come along. Get it in the water.
Goodbye, boys and girls. Bye.
Just smile and wave.